Shalom. Before I begin, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach I'd like to say the honors to my teachers, the apostles, and elders of Great Millstone that rule well and teach well. And Shalom and salutations to the fellow brethren and fellow laborers that are laboring in this work as well. So, this lesson that I'm going to be getting into today, it's going to be just a real quick lesson, inspired by this video I was watching, by this guy that's living off grid, and just going into the benefits of living off the grid, which, that's not going to save him from, you know, the times to come, the days of evil, the evil days ahead, and the time of Jacob's trouble, as well as the MOTB, the mark of the beast being made mandatory, living off the grid is not going to save you. But something that popped out in this video, that inspired me to do this lesson was the fact that he was going into how that a benefit of living off the grid is that you're not too dependent on the government. You're not too dependent on what the government has to offer. And when you take a look at the city, the city is basically structured, to the point where the people are completely, at the mercy of the government. And what do I mean by that? As the guy was going into, you know, um, your power source, to keep your lights on. You have no control over that. See, but like he was going into off the grid, you have control of your power source. Why? Because you're the one that's hewing wood, to fuel that fire. So when the lights go out, you know, you're not looking, you're not confused. You see, and you're not gonna wait and depend on somebody else to turn on those lights, but you have to turn on those lights. You see, but the people in the city, the ones that live in the city, they're completely dependent on the government because when the lights go out, you know, who are you waiting for to turn them back on or try to fix that solution, man? It's the government. You're not doing it on your own. You see, your water, you don't have control of when if it's turned off and turned on, man. Your food supply, all these things he was going into how that you know the people that live in the city, they're more dependent on the government, but living off the grid, you do these things on your own, you know. But that's the point I wanted to get into, man. That's the point. That's what inspired me to do this lesson. The fact that the people that live in the city are gonna get it the worst, you know, in these times that the Bible speaks about, man. The times like Jacob's trouble, the times of famine, the times of pestilence, man. The people that live in the city are gonna get it the worst. So, matter of fact, before I keep going, man, let me get this in the book of Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh." And these rebellious children is specifically referring to the nation of Israel, the children of Israel, which today they're known as the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Those people make up this rebellious children, the children of Israel. So this is being told to them, man. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children," said the Lord Yahweh, "that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin." So the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they counsel amongst themselves, but their counsel is not of the Lord, because they have different plans to do different things, but that's not of the that's not the spirit of the Lord, man. They're not seeking counsel from the Lord. And how would you seek counsel in the ancient times? It's through the prophets, because those are the mouthpieces of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. You see, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, man. You see that they may add sin to sin. You see, instead they're going to these different philosophies and doctrines, seeking, you know, from seeking for help from them, man. Which that's not the help. The true help is from the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Verse 2, it says that walk down to go into Egypt, that and have not asked at my mouth. You see, and this Egypt here is symbolic for America. You know, so they go down into Egypt and ask for help, but not asked at the mouth of the Lord. Once again, the prophets of Yahweh Shemashah. It says to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion, your humiliation, man. You know, so Egypt, you know, and Pharaoh, in modern terms, will be the rulers and the place, you know, that those rulers rule. For example, America, and who runs America? The, you know, the bankers. Those will be the pharaohs of today, and America will be the Egypt of today. You know, so you see, the people of the Lord, they're dependent on Pharaoh and Egypt. You know, they seek their strength and they seek their refuge from there, meaning they're completely dependent, you know, on Pharaoh and Egypt. You see? But you being completely dependent on Pharaoh and Egypt is going to lead to your demise, man, to your humiliation, your confusion, your destruction as well, because you cannot trust Pharaoh, you know, and you cannot trust Egypt because it's an illusion, you know. Example, the cities, man. The cities are not really real, man. It's just an illusion of desires and flesh, and you know, it's not real, man. You see, so let's go from there to the book of Isaiah 31. Matter of fact, so like Isaiah 31 and verse 1, it says, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Lord, unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek they the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua." You see? So woe to you that go down to Egypt, meaning death and destruction to you that seek help and depend on the government, you know, and what the government has to offer, you know. So let's go from there to the book of Isaiah 36 and verse 6. And it says, "Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him." You see, so if you trust in, if you lean upon Egypt, meaning you seek your refuge and comfort there, that's gonna end up what? That's gonna end up hurting you, man. Why? Because uh you cannot trust the wicked. You cannot trust the serpent, man. And that's who's ruling this earth, man. That's who's governing, you know, these cities. A serpent. Oh, isn't America known as the valley of the shadow of death? Meaning there's death at every corner, man. You know? So, Khan. So the point this man made about the benefits of living off the grid, which that benefit only goes so far because there's gonna come a time, as I mentioned, scriptures speak about how that once the mark of the beast is made mandatory, and that mark is the microchip. Once that's made mandatory, everybody's gonna be on the same level playing field, man. It says rich and poor, free and bond. You see, and then that's the only way you're gonna be able to live. Without that, chip is gonna you're gonna have a hard time living, man. Even if you're off the grid, because this guy also mentioned that it's still somewhat difficult of living off the grid because you still have to you still have to go to buy certain things. You still need money to buy certain things. You see, and what that microchip is gonna be the new money, man. It's gonna be digital. You know, money is gonna be digital. It's gonna be in that chip, man. You see, so even living off the grid is not it's not the solution, but the solution is what? Is to fear the Lord and trust in the Lord and serve Him in truth and sincerity. Matter of fact, let me close off here in Psalms 33 and verse 30 of Psalms 33 and verse 16. It says, "There is no king saved by the multitude of an host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. And a horse is a vain thing for safety. Neither shall he deliver any by his great strength." So these different things are symbolic to, people trying to do it by their own means, by their own strength. Like a king, for example, he might, have a multitude of an army, and he might think that might deliver him from famine. Why? Because he's protected, by all these men, you know. But in a famine, it's everybody for themselves, man. Those men are gonna end up turning on the king when they have nothing to eat. So that's a vain thing for safety. Also goes on to say a mighty man is not delivered by much strength. So if you're strong, you have muscles on you, you're a muscle builder, you know, bodybuilder. That's not gonna deliver you. Your strength is not gonna deliver you. It's only gonna go so far because you're gonna get hungry as well, and then your body is gonna start breaking down in a famine inside out, man. You know, verse 17 it says, "And horse is a vain thing for safety." And horse could be symbolic for power too, you know. And what could be tied to power? Money and resources. You see, living off the grid. Because to live off the grid, you need money, you need power, some sort of power, some sort of money. Because to buy that plot of land and to establish your cabin or whatever, you need money, which is also power in this world, man. You see, once again, that only goes so far. It says it's a vain thing for safety. It's a vain thing to trust in. He said, "Neither shall he deliver by his great strength." Verse 18, "Behold, the eye of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy." You see, so this is what you want, you know, to do if you want to be delivered from these times to come, is to fear the Lord, man, and to hope in his mercy, and to trust in him, man, and to serve him in truth and sincerity. This is what's gonna, you know, deliver you from those times. By you doing what's well pleasing to the Lord, man. Catch the Lord's eye by serving him the right way. You see, so when those times come, he can remember you and say, and give you that mark of exemption to exempt you from these, said perils, man, from these tribulations. I'm gonna read that again. "Behold, the eye of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is upon them that fear him, and upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine." You see, so nothing tangible or carnal is gonna be able to deliver you from death and famine, but it has to be divine. It has to be the Lord. that delivers you from these things. So you living off the grid is not going to solve that situation. Neither being in the city. There's no other solution but to serve the Lord, man. But the Lord, for the Lord Yahweh Bashim Ashai to deliver you. You see. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to say, call Halayim Lay Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Hakodash. Until next time, Shalom.